In this wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague visit with the insiders that are covering the stories you've heard about, and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is brought to you by Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.
All right, Daily Ticker time here on a Wednesday, brought to you on the Fan by Pelican Brewing Company, born at the beach, online at pelicanbrewing.com. We're turning and burning 2 stops on the Daily Ticker today. We'll go to the NFL in Baltimore in a moment. Let's start in college football, though, with our friend Mark Schipper at Fifth Down CFB on Twitter, the Fifth Down college football page. Mark, thanks for the time, and I want to start with just the big games this weekend, because there's a couple of them out there, and I don't really know what to make of either of these teams. But one of the primetime game on ABC is number 10 NC State, number 5 Clemson. What do you like? I can't get a read on Clemson. Are they good offensively, bad offensively? Are they good defensively, bad defensively? And I don't know much about NC State. What do you expect in that game down in Clemson, South Carolina this weekend?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. Interesting questions. If we base it on last week, Clemson is a phenomenal offensive team. Big shootout in Winston-Salem. DJU, their quarterback, he's been a little maligned for inconsistent play, looked good last week and has really looked pretty good this year generally. Last week he was 371, 5 touchdowns, and it was a shootout, and Clemson's offense won the game. You know, Clemson's kind of known for defense, but last week their defensive line is okay. Their defensive secondary has looked rough. Wake's quarterback, Sam Hartman, threw for 6 touchdowns, nearly 400 yards. So, you know, the game in Death Valley, that's big for Clemson. College game day is going to be there. There's going to be a lot of energy on Clemson's side. But Hurricane Ian also might affect the game. So that could be kind of the wild card in Clemson. There could be rain and heavy winds. So we're going to see if NC State is kind of a passing team as well. They don't run the ball too well, so they're going to want to throw. So we got 2 passing teams and potentially a terrible weather situation. So really kind of depending on that is going to be a big factor in what happens in that game.
So, Mark, let's bet the under is kind of what I'm getting from what you're saying.
Well, they know
right
it
there.
in Vegas. The over-under is 40 in that game.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So they know the weather's good in Vegas. They saw that coming.
Let me ask you about another big
Yeah.
Let me ask you about another big one here, Mark. Kentucky, Ole Miss. Ole Miss off to a nice start. Kentucky, a good story in college football. What Stoops has done there has been phenomenal. Kentucky, kind of the real deal for everybody. Ole Miss is just kind of laying there in the weeds. They're getting respect, but not as much as Kentucky so far. How do we feel about that one between Kentucky and Ole Miss, a big SEC tilt?
Yeah, it's a really interesting game. I think Ole Miss is favored by about 6.5 at home. You know, they're 4-0, but they haven't really been tested. Tulsa last week was probably their stiffest test, and they did okay. They didn't blow them out. They kind of held on to win. I saw Lane Kiffin name Jackson Dart as the full-time starter, so it looks like Ole Miss has kind of solidified that position. Ole Miss runs an interesting offense. It's a pretty effective offense. They have 2 quality running backs. They have 2 good wide receivers. And they'll test Stoops' defense. You know, Kentucky's defense is excellent, one of the best in the country. I think they're giving up about 13 points a game. Very low on the passing touchdowns, and Ole Miss likes to throw. They're stout against the run, don't give up many first downs. So that game to me looks very interesting. Will Levis, Kentucky's quarterback, is being touted as a big professional prospect, and he's been good but not great. He has a lot of work to do if he's going to be an NFL quarterback. So this game, one of the reasons I like it is we're going to get some serious tests for the talent on both sides, and we're going to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one Saturday morning. Any other big games stand out to you this weekend?
Well, you guys brought up the Michigan-Iowa game, which is an interesting game to me, simply because Kinnick Stadium is such a great venue and such a house of horrors for great visiting teams. I was looking over some of the numbers specifically. Iowa's 5-1 in the last 6 at home against top 5 teams. In Kirk Ferentz's tenure, they're 5-3 against top 5 teams at Kinnick. Now, this game, it's coming off the major Michigan blowout in the Big Ten championship game last year, 42-3 Michigan victory. And Iowa's offense is amongst the worst in the country. It's really a weird team. It's like when people ask me about Iowa, it's like, well, you're kind of watching like a Robert Nealon team from the 1930s, all defense and very little offense. So they like to punt the ball deep and try to pressure the opponent's offense into mistakes. It's a crazy throwback style. So, I think Iowa's going to have a hard time going to 6-1 in the last 7 against top 5 teams. But it's Kenneck's a fun place to watch a game, a primetime game at night.
No doubt about that. Mark Schipper is his name. Go give him a follow on Twitter at 5th Down CFB, and you can join the newsletter. Keep an eye out on his upcoming book on his Twitter account at 5th Down CFB. Mark, we always appreciate the time. Great insight on the games this weekend. It's been a crazy season. I expect more this weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.